right, welcome in. We're going to have a little technical issues here today, unfortunately, with the sound pack here. But welcome into the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. I am Ethan Schmidt. Unfortunately, I had to go do some running to get this mic pack to work correctly. But we are back in for week 2 of the high school football season. I'm probably going to have to ride these faders here a little bit. But we are excited. It's a big week. We have Springfield in this upcoming week, so excited to get back out onto the gridiron. Excited to play another game of high school football in our area. Excited for my guest. Our first guest last week was Kobe Rotel. This week we're joined by Wyatt Wooten, who's making his appearance on here. So Wyatt was chosen by Kobe Rotel to be a part of the show. So everyone, welcome Wyatt Wooten. All right, you got some smattering of applause there. The family's out here today. You brought the whole family out, Wyatt. Talk a little bit here, Wyatt, about what it's been like to be a part of this Clarksville High School football team over the last 4 years.
I think being a part of the team has really it's got me a lot of friendships that I wouldn't have had if I didn't play. I think that we have a great coaching staff. You know, they took a shot on me, an undersized kid. They taught me how to play, and they got me to where I am today.
Yeah, you definitely came in as someone that we saw from day one. I think Coach Shelby, we talk about this all the time, of just like watching you grow has been super cool to see, because when you came in, you were someone who didn't know a ton about football, probably didn't know what was in store for you, but as you stepped out and as you continue to get better each and every day, it really showed on the field. So what's been some lessons that you feel that you've picked up through high school football and through being a Clarksville Wildcat?
I think that the biggest lesson is that you can't be scared to take on like anything, and that's football. You know, go take on a block and go fill a gap. But that's in life. Like, you have to meet your problems head on and be a man about it.
Absolutely. All right. So you have a long legacy of being around Clarksville High School. It's generational for your family. I mean, you have family all over that have been a part of this. Talk a little bit about what it's like kind of continuing that legacy of being a Clarksville Wildcat.
I think it means a lot to our family. My mom graduated from there. I think that my grandma graduated from there too. I think that, coming through here and especially being on the football team, it means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the good things about Clarksville High School that people don't realize. A lot of times that you have so many families that have been a part of this for years and years and years. And, people don't realize how important that family connection is at Clarksville High School. So super excited to continue to see that for you. Super excited to kind of continue to see your growth overall, which is just something that I don't think a lot of people realize, like how much this game can change you as a person. I always like to tell the stories because you are a player that I've known since you were a little kid, and people always think that I'm joking around with them, but I do remember you in a stroller when you were little. And then to think all these years later, I never thought I'd be back coaching, but then within the first couple years of coaching, I was like, I think I know that kid. Like, I know him from somewhere. And then sure enough that we figured it all out, that I did know you and that I'd watch you now be a chance to be a part of your young adult life as you go forward. So it's super cool. You've been one of my favorite players kind of watch grow up. It's been really cool to get to experience that with you. I mentioned this with Colby last week. What's some of those moments? You can start Clarksville High football moments. You can talk a little bit about maybe the moments being at the high school. But what's been some of your favorite moments that you've had at CHS?
I've had a lot of great moments at CHS because it's a great school, but I think that the first thing that comes to mind is freshman and sophomore year sports PE class with all the guys like Elijah. They're just really fun guys to be around. I think that was my best memory from CHS.
Yeah, those weightlifting classes are usually the fun times because you're able to, you're getting a grade to get better physically. Like, not many times do you have classes. I mean, obviously I know Miss Hedrick's here, so we don't want to be like, hey, history and art and all the other stuff, but like there's something different when you're playing a sport and you get a part of your day where you can mentally take a break from the books and just work on kind of the physical aspects of who you are. And I think that's a class that I remember those times. They were so much fun. Fourth period sports PE was the only one that they offered when I was a student. So when we played football, you only had one offering. So every football player was in that. So I remember just the fun times as well. I think that's super cool to have those experiences and something that now it's 3 different classes or 3 different times during the day.
I think so.
That's awesome that we have that and we've continued to build that program that way. Big one this Friday. It's Springfield. You know my personal feelings on it. I'm not a big Springfield guy. You've been around me for a while now and kind of know my stories and how I feel about Springfield in general. But what does this game mean? Because, for 2 years, we took on everybody in the city and just absolutely destroyed them. Then you get into this now where, we're back in a different region. That rivalry game's still around. They added the battle for the bridge. They have a trophy now. Has that Springfield game changed any for you as a player?
I think the main thing that changed is last year we went out and we lost, and that was my first year really being like a contributing factor to the team, and that kind of meant something to me. So I'm really excited to come out here and play them this week because I feel like it's a chance to get our revenge on it. Yeah,
that's like you said. I mean, coming off that, and you go back, you didn't lose to him in JV.
Nope.
It had never been that way through your whole high school career until that moment last year. So definitely one that I think stings a little bit, not to give the pun to the Yellow Jackets there, but it definitely left a bad taste in our mouth last year, especially being at Springfield. That whole town comes out and does what they do. What's your message for the Clarksville High faithful that are going to come out? What would you say to them going into this Friday? Because, you see what happens when we go to Robertson County. You see what happens when we go to Springfield. What would you say is, the message that you want our fan base to see, and what would you want them to do for y'all on Friday?
I think they need to come out and just support us, all the negativity that we had last week. I think that needs to, flip and be positive because, we can hear all that and it's just kind of it can tear us down mentally. And I don't think we need that this week. This is going to be a tough opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. Very tough opponent. You're right, Wyatt. I think that it's, I think that you all, you understand the in-town rivalries, but I think after last year might have been the first time you guys actually realized what Coach Shelby, Coach Stanley, myself were talking about when you actually play that game and you lose. It's something where it's this is the 103rd meeting of it.
Yeah.
It's something that's very different that you don't get in many places in the country, let alone here. So, I feel for you guys because you kind of feel like that means that there's 102 other teams thinking about y'all tonight on both sides of that battle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Wyatt. Well, I am excited to see just how you continue to utilize, I guess, just your, senior year. I think that, words of wisdom to you would always be that it goes by very fast. The football season, and I know, not trying to make Miss Heather sad out here, but it goes by very fast. I know you got another one, so you don't have to too worry, but your big boy, it's quick, it's there. So it's a journey that could be over so quick. So keep that in mind as you play this week. But what kind of is your message after? We talked about last week being a tough game. What's your message for, I guess, the rest of the team? What's your mindset going into Springfield after a game like Blackman?
I think that there's a lot of, just people in the city that doubt us. We got ranked 6th in the city after all these people, how many years has it been since we've lost to a team in the city?
A long time.
It's been a really long time. And they just keep doubting us, but we just got to keep our heads up and know that we're better than those teams, and we can't let the media get to us.
Absolutely, Wyatt. I appreciate you, man. I'm so excited to see what you guys are able to do this Friday. I know you're going to bring it. I know you were ready after last week. You're just get me back in there. Let's figure it out. So I'm excited for you. Now, I know Coach Shelby's not up here to veto this, but I'm going to, out of the goodness of my heart here, I'm going to let you choose who's going to be up here next week.
Elliot Wyatt.
Elliot Wyatt will be our guest next week. So we'll have Elliot Wyatt, plus I believe we may have Coach Clark, the new basketball coach, or it might be Coach Ellie. One of the two is going to be up here next week. I think Coach Shelby told me, but we'll have Elliot Wyatt representing the Clarksville High football team. Wyatt, man, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Go get free pizza, but be fired up, and let's go get the win on Friday.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, we're going to step aside, and hopefully we won't have any weird noises swing back over the top here. I've been having to ride the faders. I know Mr. Gregg's ears are probably pierced right now from all the negative feedback, but we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll be joined by the principal of the Clarksville High School when we return on the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. To the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show right here at Varsity Pens. Because of all the noise and static that we had, I didn't get to go through any of the fun things that I get to do. You can see on the screen right now, if you're watching at home, Sheepdog Custom Ink, our guy, Coach Stephen Conway, one of our umbrella sponsors. He's been with me since day one as he opened Sheepdog. He's been fantastic for me and always helps me out. So huge shout out to Sheepdog Custom Ink. Of course, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Greg Reynolds, who is obviously bringing this live stream. I know last week he had Miss Sarah said, you either go to Gatlinburg or it's no good for you. And I was like, hey, Mr. Greg, I got you. You don't have to be here. You don't have to go to Blackman. I get it. I'm also a married man. I understand. You know, we got to take care of that. So shout out to you guys and Miss Sarah. I know we'll see her throughout the year, but it's super cool to have Mr. Greg. Mainly because Mr. Greg Coley graduated last year. He has no reason to have to be around the football team, but he's still here with us. And he sent me a message over the summer saying, should I still do the podcast? And I was like, Mr. Greg, you do whatever you want. You don't have to do anything. And he was super gracious to come out here and still be a part of this. So thank you to Mr. Greg as well. And then, of course, my own family business. We have the beautiful signs up here at front, Callie & Co. Creations, my beautiful wife, Callie. We started doing signs for the schools in the area, mostly Clarksville High signs, though. But we've donated a couple for the baseball team last year. They were at the banquet, so we have a couple of families who have bought some Go Wildcat ones. Go Catch. You can see one of the designs there. Scan the QR code. It'll take you over to the website. She got this really cool thing now. It's a helmet that says Fridays are for football. So with all those ad reads out of the way, I'd like to introduce our second guest tonight, the principal of the Clarksville High School, Miss Hedrick. It's so awesome. Oh, wow. Wyatt didn't even get that, and his whole family's here. Goodness gracious, that's good stuff. There's some kids that want to stay out of trouble, Miss Hedrick,
yes,
is what that is.
I think so. Thank you for that warm welcome.
Well, Miss Hedrick, we heard you were a big fan of the show.
For sure.
So we're excited that you're a part of this, and we're excited to get you out here. We're just continuing to try to grow this show, and having the support of the admin is super awesome. I don't know if you'll ever get Mr. Cummings up here, but you might need to tell him it's not that bad.
That's right. I'll try to squeeze that in where I can.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your Clarksville High journey, because you told me you're a graduate of the school, and now you're back here. You've had sons come through here. Mm-hmm. You bleed purple and gold.
Absolutely. We are a Clarksville High School family. Well, in 8th grade, I moved to Clarksville, Tennessee, because my dad was a football coach at Austin P, and so that brought us to Clarksville from lots of different places, but I was able to begin and end at Clarksville High School. We had moved around quite a lot and didn't stay places too long, but I was really blessed to be able to have my high school career at Clarksville High School, and just Wildcat through and through. My husband Sid also graduated from Clarksville High School, my sister, and now I have 2 sons that are also graduates of Clarksville High School. So go class of 96, and I'm just proud to be a Wildcat.
We love that. And that's what, I was kind of hitting it at home with Wyatt there as well, is you just never realize like how big that, the family lineage sometimes goes, how far it goes back. I thought it was fun. A couple years ago, we had Jack Wyatt, who you know Jack as well.
Yeah.
His dad, Freddie T, was a Northeast guy, but his grandpa was a Clarksville High guy. So you have that just kind of run, especially in this area, on this side of town. You're a Wildcat. Most people know it as, and I know they continue to try to restructure zones and whatnot, but most people are like, it's still Wildcats at heart. So
that's right.
It's super cool to see that. I want to hear the journey from your perspective of being the daughter of a coach, because Miss Lucy Claire's here, who's obviously Coach Shelby's daughter.
Yes.
She's been very fortunate. We've all been very fortunate. Coach Shelby's been able to be here, but you got to see the perspective. Your dad coached collegiately. He's an awesome guy. I had a great time talking to him and learning a lot from him. But what was it like growing up as the coach's daughter and having to make those moves and travel?
Absolutely. Well, I definitely look at Lucy and think, have really great memories of my own childhood growing up as a football kiddo, a coach's daughter. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was great. When I was born, my dad coached at UTC, and so we stayed there about 5 years, and then we went to the University of Memphis, Memphis State then. Had a season there. The head coach was tragically killed in a plane crash, and then we were able to move on to the University of New Mexico, where he was also coaching with one of his former teammates at UTC where he played. And then we stayed there about a year, about a season. We lived by seasons. Came back to the South at Vanderbilt University. Were there a couple of seasons. And then Mississippi State, and then University of South Carolina, and then Austin Peay. But I'll tell you that it was so much fun just being around all those football players and that family atmosphere. Learned so much about hard work and dedication and perseverance, and just kind of always was around that never give up, kind of do your best all the time, always giving it 100% attitude. So it was kind of neat just to be on the football field with all the other coaches' kids and play and have fun, and also learn a lot too.
That's what I was going to kind of say there with that, is just you obviously had to be around the game of football as well, but you were also kind of every year had like 90 big brothers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got to be kind of a weird feeling when people are like, well, you have any older brothers? And like, I got 90 of them. I'm out here. But did you run water? Were you a part of that too?
Oh,
did
my
you do all that
gosh.
stuff?
Yeah, when we came to Austin Peay, of course, I was in high school pretty much. And then I started at Austin Peay as a freshman. And throughout high school, I was sort of the gal on the sidelines carrying the cord, making sure that there was enough slack so my dad could move from one side of the field to the other. So I was always the girl standing right next to him. And at that time, he was going through cancer treatments, and I was very protective of him, wanted to make sure he didn't get hit or hurt or anything like that. And I could remember one specific game, a very large football player coming my way, and all I could think was just get my dad out of the way. And I remember just pushing him over and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. But yeah, I did that. Also kept the time, and I was in charge of watching the timer and blowing the horn when it was time to go to the next drill station or whatever it was that they were doing. I also was a videographer. I got to climb those towers in the end zone and stand there and capture all the videotape. And he was always like, don't miss any plays, don't miss any plays. And I'm like, okay, I won't. So yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. When we first came to Austin Peay, he got a deal on some shoes, but they were the wrong color. The stripe on the shoe was the wrong color, and spent many hours painting the stripes of the shoes red so that they could wear those shoes. Did laundry, did a little bit of everything, anything that I could really just to be a part of the team.
Well, I'm sure Coach Freeman would like to know that you know how to do the videography, because there's some times where he's like, why do we miss that clip? We might have to have you up there telling the kids, hey, don't quick clip this on us. We need this. So
right.
If you have that experience, we might have to throw you in there on a Friday night and call you in. You talked about being around that experience. How is it now as a principal? Because you're at Friday nights, especially the home games. What's the atmosphere like as an alum, but also as the principal when you're like, I remember being in those stands in their same shoes as these, the student section, or where you're down there in front of the band or near a cheer and by the players. What's that experience like now from the principal perspective?
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love seeing the kids enjoy it and root for their team. There's just something special about the camaraderie and the school spirit that comes with Clarksville High and being a Wildcat. And I have missed that in lots of ways. Of course, I got to watch my boys play and participate in athletics and things, but there's something really special about that. And I love seeing the team. I love seeing how they care about each other. And I love watching our Wildcats cheer for our team. It's so much fun.
Absolutely. Now, I have heard, obviously I'm not in the school building. I'm at Austin Peay with everything I do. What is the gold standard? I've heard that this is we live to the gold standard at Clarksville High School. What is the gold standard?
Absolutely. So we put in place a set of operating principles last school year, really having a growth mindset, ownership, leadership, and just doing what's right. And that's what we call the gold standard. And it really drives everything that we do. And so much of what Clarksville High School football exemplifies the gold standard. I think they had used that too previously in promoting what they believe for the team. And I just think it's really cool, so much that you learn in football just carries you through life. Being able to get back up again when something doesn't go your way, or, trying when it's, keep going when it's really hard. And you think you're done and you don't have any more gas left, but it's getting back up and getting back on the field and lifting your brothers up. And so it really just thinking about doing what's right, being a good human, and learning some of those skills that help you persevere through hard times in your life, because we're all going to have them sometime, and just keep challenging yourself to be the very best that you can.
I love to hear that. Yeah, we've used gold standard for a long time, purple process, gold standard, just to remind everybody, when you say gold standard, there's nothing better than gold. That's first place. That's number one. And if you want to be number one, you have to live to a new height.
Exactly.
You don't win a gold medal for being not the best.
Right.
That the best in the world wins the gold medal. So I love that. I love that you've been able to incorporate that and continue to push that message along. Now, Coach Shelby also wanted me to have you talk a little bit Friday. We will have the metal detectors out.
Yes.
So explain to the people at home who are listening, are going to come out, when they need to get there and what they can expect on Friday.
Absolutely. Well, the gates are going to open at 5:30, and this is new. We haven't done it at Clarksville High with our new open gate system yet, so we're all going to be learning. So come with your patience and grace for us as we try to make sure that we're navigating it correctly and safely. The most important thing is just come with yourself. You don't need a whole lot, but it's hot outside, so we don't need blankets or bags or anything like that, and we can get you through pretty quickly. So, just remembering those things. We send out notes and messages, but really just make sure you have a clear bag. Come early, be patient, and make sure that, you're not bringing anything metal that's going to set off that detector and keep you from coming in.
Coach Shelby said the number one culprit is eyelash curlers.
It is.
That's what he said. So
hopefully we'll be leaving those at home for the game. So yeah, just come ready to have a good time. Come ready to support the Wildcats.
All right. I asked obviously all of our players this because they are Clarksville Wildcats. You're a Wildcat. What was your favorite moment at being at Clarksville High School from when you were a Wildcat as a student?
Oh my gosh, I think some of my favorite memories, it's hard to just define one, but some of my favorite ones were our pep rallies. It was so much fun. And I can remember one of our assistant principal at the time, Mr. William Workman. He would get on that microphone and he would pep us up and get us really excited about the game. And so I love thinking about and having those memories of being a student myself and moving from that freshman side all the way around to finally getting to be in that senior section. It was so much fun, and it kind of gives me chills. I think back when I'm standing there in the gym and I'm seeing other students. I got to see my own child in that section, and just thinking about how special it is and what great lifelong memories that they will always have and take away from their time at Clarksville High.
Ms. Hedrick, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get down there. Thank you for coming out here and being a part of the show. We are so just thankful that we have the support that we do at Clarksville High School, and all of us alumni always feel, proud to be Wildcats.
Yes.
And it's something that I don't think a lot of people understand in this area, and they may think, we're weird for saying it, but like there's something special
Absolutely.
about 151 Richview Road, and Coach Shelby says it all the time. It's a great place, and it's something that no one else has the ability to say. I mean, 120 years
Yes.
of Clarksville High School is something that's just really, really cool. So I thank you
Yep.
for your time.
Absolutely.
We're going to have you come down here and get to sign the
Okay.
banner down here. We'll take all the photos and get it posted on social media, but it was super cool to get a
Yeah.
chance to talk with you. Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Absolutely. We're going to step aside. When we come back, the head football coach of the Wildcats, Coach Isaac Shelby, will join us on the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. Back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. Our final segment here is with the head football coach of the Clarksville High School Wildcats, Coach Isaac Shelby. Coach Shelby, obviously, I got a workout in running over here when that negative feedback was hitting the top. So I apologize to all of our forced listeners on the duckpin bowling side who had to hear that. But we are excited for this week of football. Coach, take us a little bit through last week into this week. Obviously, you never want to go on the road and lose a game, but how do you use that Blackman game to grow as a team?
I think, we just have to play better fundamentally. I think there were some opportunities there that we didn't take care of and some checks we missed. And we just didn't play very good football, not typical football of the way we play. Blackman's a really, really good football team, and they take advantage of errors when you make them, and we just made way too many of them. I think, Will Hester does a good job. He's a really good coach. So we've got to learn from that, put it away, and on to Springfield.
Yeah, this is going to be a big week for us. We talk about this all the time because of just the I think for us, you played in this game. Mm-hmm. I played in this game. Coach Stanley played in this game. Coach Johnson played in this game. Coach Lawrence, who's out here. Big shout out to Coach Marcus Lawrence, who's out here tonight. Love seeing you, Coach. Played in this game. Even Coach Irwin, who's not a Wildcat, played against Springfield, and he talks about it. Like
he does. He mentioned it today.
It's a big kind of, I tell the kids a lot of times, like, when the rivalries aren't so great in Clarksville, that's the rivalry that we hang our hat on, because it is it's two very proud historic schools facing off.
Yeah, there were some big monumental games in the past. It goes back decades and decades. Springfield's just a really, really quality program. They have been for many, many, many decades. And it's fun to get the opportunity to go play those guys each year. I think it's a big deal for us.
And a couple years ago, they brought in the Battle for the Bridge trophy,
They did.
Which is the Port Royal Bridge that used to connect the two counties. which is a super cool concept and idea. So I know it's the Social Dweebs guys that started that, and shout out to them because it's something super cool. You think we're playing for the 103rd meeting, and the trophy was introduced at year 100.
Yeah,
so.
That's kind of weird. But I know Terrence Summers, he was a great player at Springfield. I think he kind of headed that up. He does a really, really good job. Big historical guy. Real proud Springfield person. So I've known Terrence since he was in high school. We played against him. He was in high school one of my time at Northeast. So he's a really good guy, and they did a really good job of, if you haven't seen that bridge or the trophy, you need to check it out, because looking at it compared to the pictures of the Port Royal Bridge and stuff, it's amazing. They did a really good job with it.
And it's heavy. It's a heavy trophy.
It is a heavy
it's
trophy,
not just a normal lightweight trophy. It's a very heavy trophy. We always try to post pictures or videos of it on our social media before the games to kind of, show what the game's about. But, this is a game, I think, we will talk about this, and I know Coach Stanley, this is one of those games that his senior year on senior night, and you were the receivers coach. I was a young sophomore, and it was the rainiest, muddiest, nastiest game in the history of football, I felt.
It's referred to as the Mud Bowl.
Yes.
I think there was a hurricane that year that came
there was
through?
a hurricane that the end part of it continued up into our area for a week.
It just kind of sat on us and rained for a week, and I know we ruined the field that year, just completely ruined it. I remember as an assistant coach, you had to move on the sideline or you would sink. I ended up ankle deep in the mud, and if you didn't move constantly, you would just sink in it. It was so bad. I've never played a game like that before, but that's one of the great historical games in the rivalry, I think.
Yeah, and then of course the big moment on that was 2 weeks later, going to Springfield, and I was talking a little bit to Calvin White earlier about it from Main Street Preps. I told him I'd give him a shout out. He's got a really cool story he's working on. He has a stat that I told him I would not steal, but he's going to let you know about it when he talks to you.
He told me about it?
He hasn't told you about it yet.
Okay.
He told me about it.
All right.
We're going to have that conversation. He has a really cool stat. It's going to be in his story that he'll let you know about for this rivalry. But we were talking about it, and I mentioned to him we went from the rainiest, nastiest day that year to one of the coldest games we ever played in to one of the hottest games in November I've ever been a part of in 3 weeks.
That one was really wild. I remember playing at the old stadium in Springfield, and I know they did a really good job of making the new stadium a lot like the old stadium, but just playing in that old thing where you were like in a cracker box. There was nowhere to stand on the sideline at all. Every time you kicked an extra point or a field goal, it went over the road into the neighborhood. You had to send some little kid over there to get the ball running across the road in the dark, and it probably wasn't safe. But that was a really, really cool stadium. I kind of miss that place.
Yeah, one of my funny stories that I get to tell, and if Coach Snyder was here, that year we beat them in the playoffs, we broke the fence. The student section stormed the field.
I remember he was upset about that.
He was not happy.
No,
and then the next year we went there and won the region.
Yeah.
And I remember their athletic director came up to Coach during the game with 2 or 3 minutes left because it was a 40-point game. And he said, you need to make sure your students don't storm the field.
Yeah.
And I remember Coach Snyder looking at him and saying, I'm trying to coach.
Yeah.
There's administration, talk to them. And they were like, they will listen to you more. And he was like, no, they won't. They're going to storm the field.
Yeah.
And for 2 years in a row, we broke their fence over there.
I remember it wasn't anything purposeful, I think. I think they were on the fence, and that was just kind of where to watch the games then. And then you start leaning a little more, and then the weight gets too much, and it just came down. But that stadium was a really, really cool place. I miss playing there.
Yeah, I do remember, extra points and field goals bouncing as cars would drive by and they'd hit a car, or they would bounce in front of a car. Or it was definitely a cool experience being there.
It was just a different time because kids were over there trying to catch the balls and running across the road back and forth in the dark. We wouldn't allow that now, I don't think.
Yeah. So this week, obviously, we get them back at home. We played 2 years in a row at Springfield. 2 years ago was an absolute thriller, 10-7.
Yeah.
Had to pick up a big fourth down to get it, and Amari Galbraith, just carried the team that way. last year, 19-7, a lot of just dumb things, kind of shooting ourselves in the foot over and over again. What's been the message this week to your team to try to make sure you don't replicate last year?
I think it's just, first off, you got to control the controllables. You can't make big mistakes against good teams like Springfield and expect them not to capitalize, because they will every time, because they're well coached and a great program. You got to take care of that for sure first. And then after that, it's just Clarksville Springfield. So it's going to be a hard-hitting, fast, old-school football game, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And two coaches that know each other fairly well on game plan, and it's one of those weeks where it's you're not really teaching them what to defend. You're teaching them you have to be tough to defend it.
Yeah. The Springfield's just really, really good program. I think Dustin Wilson's one of the best coaches in the state. He does a really, really good job, him and his staff. They're always prepared. They play the game the right way. They play it with Springfield kids. You know what I mean? It's not a bunch of, in here and out of here and all that. They're just kids that grew up Springfield, loving Springfield. So, it's the way high school football is supposed to be in Clarksville. As things change with high school sports, Clarksville, Springfield hasn't changed yet, and I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, and one of the things for this week, and I know these guys are probably tired of hearing it, but you've been around, several NFL players.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who are playing on Saturdays that you've coached against. Springfield's got a really good one. Super cool for him being one of the youngest people to receive a Nike NIL in high school. Mm-hmm. What do you think of a player like Jermaine Cobbins when you see him?
I think he deserves every bit of it. I think Jermaine's one of the best athletes I've seen in high school. And I've coached against a lot of guys that ended up playing in the NFL at receiver, from, Van Jefferson to Josh Malone there's been a bunch of them. And he's probably better than all those guys. He's a really, really special athlete. And it's going to take a team effort to try to keep him contained. I kind of feel bad for high school kids that play Springfield. You sit in math class all day Friday and you're trying to figure out the cosine and tangent of whatever you're doing, and then you got to spend the evening covering that guy. It's just not fair. But I'll say this, and this is no knock on Jermaine, because he is incredible, and it's more than just Jermaine. It's a really good team. I think the world of their quarterback. I think he's a really good player. I think Seven's a really good player. They got a bunch of guys that just play the right way. And sometimes you have a superstar like Jermaine, and all the focus, ends up going to that guy. But I don't think you can do that with a really quality program like Springfield.
All right, Coach. What's the message to the Wildcat faithful? It's the home opener for us. We're back home. It's Springfield in town. We know Robertson County, they're going to bring out, people from all over in Springfield for this game. What's the message to the Clarksville High School faithful?
It's Clarksville Springfield. It's one of the best rivalries in the state of Tennessee. It's one of the longest rivalries in the state of Tennessee. You're going to see, hopefully, two teams that are proud of where they came from, that are proud of their towns, that go out and play the game of football the way that it should be played, in a physical way. And I think it's going to be really fun. I don't know where else you'd want to be other than, Clarksville Springfield is just what it is. I think that's the place to be. I think you need to be there early. Don't bring your eyelash curlers. Don't bring forks and spoons and 18 spiral notebooks, so that people can get through the metal detectors quick.
Absolutely. That was what I was going to say. Leave the eyelash curlers and the metal spoons at home.
Yeah, they got to stay at home. Hopefully we play better defense so we don't look like we need eyelash curlers.
All right, Coach. Well, again, huge shout-out to Sheepdog Custom Inc. Again, Coach Conway, just fantastic. We always appreciate all he does for us. He always gets us in the right gear. We're always looking good. A lot of the stuff that you see us wearing are things that Coach Conway's created or has been able to print for us. Of course, Varsity Pins continuing to let us use the bus this year, being inside. Something that's super cool. I mean, we're the only podcast in the area for high school sports in general, but to be able to be on location and be here at Varsity Pins, super, super cool. Of course, a big shout out to Mr. Greg Reynolds, back this week. He will have a live stream this week as well. So if you are unable to attend for whatever reason, Mr. Gregg, he's going to be there. We're going to have Clayton Carroll and Aiden Davis. Aiden Davis, a fellow Wildcat, former Wildcat, played for us on the call this week. So we're excited to have that back as well. I'm excited to have Mr. Gregg back for another season. Of course, Callie and Co-Creations, that's our own thing that we're doing for high school spirit wear. It's mostly been Clarksville High School stuff. I'm okay with that. My wife says it's a business. We should help others. And I said, well, the more purple and gold in our house, the better. So Clarksville High families, if you're wanting a cool sign for your door or even for teachers, we have some teachers that put the signs out in front of their classrooms. You can do that as well. But excited for another season here. Excited for Friday against Springfield. Get there early. Gates are opening at 5:30. Coach Shelby, any final words before we get off the bus here this week?
No, Coach Z just texted me. Apparently I said something funny. No, just get there early. Support these guys. They played really, really tough opening schedule. Opening up with Oakland and Blackman and some really, really quality teams. And we've learned some lessons about ourselves, I think, and hopefully we fix some of those errors. And have a good night Friday night.
Awesome, Coach. Thank you for your time. Thank you all for everybody that came out to watch this week's show. I thank you for everyone that is watching at home or listening to this on the rebroadcast when it drops. We appreciate all of your support. We appreciate you being supporters of the Clarksville High School Wildcats. And as Coach Shelby will always say, the big thing,
go Cats.
Go Cats. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that you join us again next time.